Welcome everyone to Arts Alive, taping right here at Bristol Community College, and it's my pleasure to have with me today Back Porch being Walter Whitehead and Dave Osborne. So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Pleasure to be
we're
here.
going to talk a little bit. We're going to have you play first, and we're going to talk a little bit to the two of you. But I would like to ask how Back Porch. I love that name, I have to say, and I had a back porch growing up, you know, and they don't even call them that anymore. So. Tell us how that came to be, the name, and I know you two were working together, you said prior.
Right,
yeah.
right. Walter made that, we were thinking of names, and why don't you tell the story, Walter? You're the one that kind of...
Well, we used to play on my back porch a lot.
Well, that does it.
Which is, where a lot of this started and where we just developed our affinity for playing and being together. So from there, that seemed like a good way to go with a name, and plus we thought it also kind of signifies our attitude toward the music, kind of a casual, informal, just having fun with it,
right?
Kind of a thing.
Well, I mean, that name, you know, as I said, I evokes so many good memories, you know, too, and obviously good music. So we're going to let Dave introduce the first song, Dave Osborne.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right, the first song is a Steve Earle tune that we like to play. It's called South Nashville Blues. Walter. Went downtown just to ease my pain.
Went downtown just to ease my pain.
Ended up walking in the rain. I took my pistol and $100 bills. I took my pistol and $100 bills. I had every reason to get me killed. The Southside girls, they suit me just fine. Southside girls, they suit me just fine. As long as I got money, they don't whine. That's the truth. Devil lives on Lewis Street, I swear. The devil lives on Lewis Street, I swear. I've seen him walking in his rocking chair. I go way up top on Lewis Street, walk down to the end.
Way up top, walk down to the end.
Way down to the bottom, and I come back up again. Mama told me, Papa too, they all talk till they turn blue, but I got them old South Nashville blues again. And I won't be satisfied till they lock me up again. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, the style, it's sort of a little bit of a mix of country, isn't it?
Acoustic blues kind
Yeah,
of.
Oh, nice.
It's got a country
feel,
element,
yeah.
some blues in there.
Yeah, we play a little
Certainly
rockabilly.
the melody, you know, the lyrics, to me, lend to country, you know,
Oh,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a refrain and you know, poor me and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
That's how I kind of describe it, you know.
Yeah, it's Steve Earle likes to play that kind of music, and we enjoy
So,
playing his music.
why don't you tell us? We'll start with Dave. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, Dave? You can talk right into the mic. We had mentioned
That's
that
right, yep.
before, and I'll stand over here so
You bet.
make it a little easier.
Well, I'm from Pawtucket. I'm originally from Pawtucket, and
That would be Rhode Island.
Pawtucket would be Rhode
Yeah.
Island. Yes, yes. But I hang out.
You can look at me. It's all right.
All right.
Yeah.
But I hang out. I'm sorry.
That's
But I hang around Walter all the time. So we're up in Fall River
Yeah.
most of the time. So I've been playing guitar since I was a kid, and Walter and I started playing maybe like 15 years ago.
How did you meet, the two of you?
Well,
In the circuit or in the circuit of music?
He's
or?
my wife's cousin.
yeah.
That's nice.
Yep,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
So we used to get together on Easter and holidays, and we would just jam and play music together. And
Fun.
after a while, it kind of morphed into playing out. Yeah.
Mm.
And what do you do when what's your real job?
I'm retired right now, but I used to work for the Veterans Administration.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked there for
Yeah.
30. I just retired recently. Yeah.
Nice. I bet you like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Nothing like it, you know?
Oh, it's
And
great.
a lot more time for all of this, too, with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
Walter, what about you? We know how the two of you got together, and
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm a retired public school teacher, and since I retired, I've had a chance to really devote myself more to playing.
Yeah.
I had to really put the guitar aside for much of my adult
I
life.
know, yeah.
I have two wonderful daughters, but just being a parent and a teacher didn't give me much time for playing guitar. For much
Oh
of
no,
my
I know.
life.
We find,
So,
many
yeah.
times we find these.
Yeah.
We're able to sort of blossom with these
yeah.
interests, after we
Exactly.
stop our regular jobs. Yeah.
Exactly.
a
So
new job
I
now.
feel
Yeah.
lucky, to be able to have the time to work on learning, things on the guitar and, doing that with Dave.
Right. And what are some of the upcoming gigs? I know you have one on Saturday, the 27th of April, at Sandy Woods, which is a great facility.
Actually, I think it's Sunday the 28th.
Oh, Sunday the
Yeah.
28th. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah.
thought I had read the 28th, but that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sunday the 28th. And what time is that?
Begins at 3, Dave?
Be like
3?
around 3 to 6. Yep.
A mid-afternoon show.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good
we're
time.
That's a very nice
Sharing,
time.
Yeah.
sharing the Sandy Woods stage with
Oh.
two really fine duos.
Right.
There's Bliss Point,
Yep.
two young women who really...
They've been on the show.
Yeah, they do a
and
fabulous
so is,
job.
Gary Fish.
And Gary plays with another guy, Steve Redfern. They call themselves Red Fish together.
Oh,
And,
cute.
and
yeah.
and they blend because they both have their own songwriting path that they do very well, and they've kind of blended themselves together. So they do originals and covers, and they've come up with a really nice duo act. So we're happy to do that with them.
And
then
that's called is that called the something duos?
Yeah,
It's called
the-
a dueling duo.
The dueling
yeah,
duos. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't think there's.
We're not dueling.
It's not a competition. I think you like the sound of
Yeah,
the.
I like it
the,
too. Yeah,
alliteration.
I do. Yeah,
You know?
it's
Yeah,
good.
so we'll all do a set, like Walter and I do a set, and then Bliss Point will do a set. And
Yeah.
then, Red Fin.
Yeah.
And then we're going to, at the end, we're all going to come out and
Yeah,
play a couple
yeah.
of
Jam together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a really nice night. Matinee of music. Yeah.
Right. Afternoon. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
And Dave and I play about once a month at the Belmont Club in Fall River.
Oh, that's a fun place.
And it is,
Yeah.
and we play an early set. We play from 6 to 9. As I said, about once a month. Our next one is this Friday.
Friday, that's right.
Oh, well,
March
that's coming up.
29th.
yeah,
yeah.
come on down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we're doing it again in May and in June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we play there
So
once a
May
month.
and June at the Belmont,
Mm-hmm.
and April 28th.
28th.
Sunday the 28th at 3 at Sandy Woods.
Yeah, that should be a
Right.
really good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandy Woods has
Sandy
fabulous
Woods.
acoustics.
Sandy Woods, yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
Great.
like, I think it's fabulous, that place.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
So, want to do another number for us?
Sure.
Want to introduce
Ooh,
and tell us what you...
Walter,
Walter?
why don't you
Yeah.
introduce this one?
We're going to do a song from the 1950s. It's by Arthur Big Boy Crudup, who a lot of people don't know, but Elvis Presley did a lot of his songs. So
Really?
So he was a blues and maybe early rock and roll type of
So
player.
what
And
did he do that Presley would have recorded?
I think he might have
One or
written
two.
"It's All Right, Mama." I'm
He
not
did,
sure
he
about
oh,
did.
that.
yeah. That's a very early one, yeah.
Yeah, so the 50s type of
Yeah.
thing. And the way we do it, it's for two acoustic guitars, and Dave plays slide on it, which is a technique you can see on his.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll give you a chance to hear that.
All right,
So,
great.
all right.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
you.
Slide.
Yep.
Well, that mean old Frisco and that low-down Santa Fe. Well, that mean old Frisco, low-down Santa Fe. Carry that woman I love away, and she blowed smoke back at me. Now my mama, she done told me, and my papa done told me too. Well, my mama, she done told me, and my papa told me too. Said any woman smiles in your face, son, she ain't no friend to you. Lord, I wonder, yes, I wonder, does she ever think of me? Does she ever think of me? Lord, I wonder, yes, I wonder, will that girl come back to me? Now I'm sitting and I'm listening, and I hear that whistle blow. Well, I'm sitting and I'm listening, and I hear that whistle blow. Tell me, did she hop that Southern, did she flight that old Frisco? Lord, I ain't got no special rider here. Lord, I ain't got no special rider here. I'm gonna leave this town 'cause I don't feel welcome here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I don't feel welcome here.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm moving on out.
That's right.
Yeah, to the big house.
Anywhere but here.
Anywhere but here. Well, that was great, guys, having you on, and we hope the audience members will turn out on April 28th. I'll try to be there myself on that.
That'd be great.
3 o'clock in the afternoon is a good time, you know.
Time of day.
you
On
know,
a Sunday,
perfect for us.
it is.
You
Yep.
can bring in your own. You can bring in your own food and drink.
Yeah, that's right.
BYOB,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
did have to cancel it for snow, and I have a feeling we won't have to cancel
Oh,
it for
I know.
snow.
Thank God. We're rising up to. We're moving into the. We'll talk about moving on up. We're moving into the spring and summer.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll be right back if you want to continue to join us on Arts Alive. And thank you again to Back Porch for being here.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
for having us.
My
It's our
pleasure.
pleasure.
Yep. Welcome back, everyone, to Arts Alive, and now we're going to talk about a little more serious subject, and the wonderful music that we've just heard And that is a project that the Holocaust Center here at Bristol Community College came up with. And what we see behind us is a beautiful mural. And actually, these are buttons that were collected by the Holocaust Center and then marvelously put together by students and through the assistance of their wonderful faculty members here. And that would be Marissa Millard and Kit Knutson, yeah. That's a nice flow of name there, Kit Knutson. Here at Bristol Community College. So why don't you tell us, Marissa, how the project got started as far as your takeover of it? Did they have any idea what to do with these buttons when they were collecting?
So they had done a few smaller projects, and Ron had asked me if the art program might be interested in doing something to help bring attention to this cause. We all felt it was very important. I mean, just the sheer volume of 1.5 million children having been killed in the Holocaust, and knowing that not enough people know anymore about the Holocaust, it seemed a very important project. So I talked to Kat and we brainstormed a little, and Kat will talk a little bit more about that. But I will speak to Stephen Ross, who is portraiture. So we did decide to do portraits. And this portrait is of Stephen Ross, who is actually a survivor, but he was liberated from Auschwitz, and he spoke here at the college. So I wanted to have one of the portraits be someone who had a local connection. And I had actually come to his talk with my children and a couple of their friends, and it was something that has had a lasting effect on all of us. So I thought that was important to include him.
Yeah, nice to see someone who survived, with all the thousands and thousands who didn't. So, and so tell us how you took it over, Kit.
So I met with Marissa and Ron, and we discussed the parameters, the ideas and goals around the concept and the materials that we had to work with. And like Marissa was saying, we decided to use portraiture as a means to convey and bring a lot of memory back to this event, and not forgetting history and the mistakes that we made in it. And I looked at the amount of buttons that we had to work with, and with the background that I have in painting, which has a lot of color to it, I noticed really quickly that there's a lot of variations of different hues within the buttons. There was a lot of blues, lavenders, gold, yellow. So I thought about the idea of maybe doing some sort of a mosaic type of approach. And then I went a little overboard with it. I started to kind of catalog all of the nuances of the colors of the buttons, making individual swatches of the variations of the hues. And so it quickly turned into having a few large boxes of buttons to several piles of different nuances of colors of the buttons. So you'd have like the light blues, the medium light blues, the cool light blues, the warm. So it went really nuts with that, and that process ended up becoming a little bit more laborious. And then I helped, kind of start, fabricating some of the basic support systems with plywood, gessoing them off and getting a nice neutral color in the background. And then we started to take the imagery, we edited it in Photoshop a little bit so it'd be easy to trace onto the wood. We used a projector approach so that we could easily see the outlines and the contours of the portrait. And then that's when we had some wonderful assistants, some students, Michael and Gabby, that basically took over and managed and created and brought to life these wonderful portraits, just using, a few variations of tonal variety and color variety and reference imagery. So I think they're
I think the skin tones in particular, and things like the eyebrows, I was saying that earlier, it's almost like they're like impressionistic works, that the closer you are, you don't really see the impression until you're back a little bit further, and then they're just wonderful. I fell in love with them when I walked through. I didn't realize at first what they were, although I know Ron, I knew the project, but I didn't realize that that's what this was. It's just fabulous, I think. Why don't you tell us a little bit, Marissa, about the other, which we will bring up on camera, the other portraiture that we have here in the mosaic.
So the other one that we chose to do is of Anne Frank, and it was actually, so Kat definitely, she helped us get started, and she brought her painter eye to it, and then she handed over that baton to a couple of the students that will also be talking who also have a painting background. So we decided on the 2 portraits, so that was a group decision. Michael and Gabriella were certainly the leads of putting the whole thing together. There were a number of students and alumni, art and design students and alumni, that came in and out throughout the summer and into the fall to help, although I think I lost track after like 150 volunteer hours for the 3 of us, but particularly for Michael and Gabriella for spending the time on it. Just from a design perspective, it was easier doing the Anne Frank portrait because it was second. We had already spent an enormous amount of time sorting buttons. We had a room full of buttons sorted like box after box after box. We sorted I think it was close to 600,000 buttons to just get it. It took much of the summer. Just that was what I focused on, was just sorting buttons and kind of keeping everybody moving. But it was wonderful having so many students get involved. With the Anne Frank portrait, we were able to look at a number of different photographs that we got permission to use from the Anne Frank Foundation, and so we were able to choose the one that would work the best. Where this photograph that we were working from was one that the Red Cross took. It was a propaganda photograph that they allowed it to be taken in the concentration camp. So he's actually wearing his prison uniform. And the point of those propaganda photos were to show that there weren't horrific things happening, even though, of course, there were.
Nazi propaganda.
Right, of course, yes.
Could you just talk a little bit about Anne Frank for some of our viewers who may not know that story of her?
Well, Anne Frank is definitely the most memorable representative of all the lost children, the 1.5 million lost children. She is very well known for her diary that she kept when they were in hiding in Amsterdam before they were found out and went to the concentration camp.
So it's my pleasure now to introduce Michael Belanger and Gabrielle Rodriguez, is that right? Yeah. To talk a little bit about their work on this project, which I can only imagine was mammoth amount of work.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to start, you were saying that you sorted the buttons, right?
Oh, yeah, I was one of the main people. Took cues from Michael to which one would go where, and we kind of just sorted out the jobs just naturally.
Now, as you were sorting, did you know what the aim was? You were trying to get a portrait of someone.
Well, we did know about the portrait because we had it printed out of what we wanted to do.
These two, both.
Yeah,
Anne
I don't think we were set on Anne right away, but Stephen Ross we knew about.
Yeah.
And we just tried at first, when I started putting the face in, we just started trying whatever colors made sense.
Right.
And that there, Gabriella saw what colors we needed, and she started separating them, taking them home, and
taking boxfuls after boxfuls so we could figure out which ones we wanted. But after we figured out which ones we wanted, we would, because it was, we didn't have it upright looking at us like a painting or something. We had to stand up on a chair and look down at it and figure out, like, is this the right position? Are all the colors meshing together?
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, you were creating, in a very extraordinary way, a portrait of someone in buttons, and that's not an easy thing to do, I would imagine. I mean, I was just flabbergasted when I saw it, you know, at the level of creativity. And also, of course, as I said, the skin tones, the eyebrows, the eyes, everything. You know, I'm looking more toward the face than the rest of it. But they're just fabulous on both of these, really. And how long did it take for the project? I know you were through the summer, I think, right?
I mean, I think we kind of lost track, but I think on Anne it might have been around 60, 70 hours on her. And Stephen Ross was a lot longer because we were just trying to figure out some things.
Yeah, exactly.
Anne seemed like we were blazing across fast, and
Yeah.
Marissa and Gabriella at times are like, we need to slow down a little because we weren't used to. Stephen Ross took so long.
How long did he take, more or less?
It must have been over
Was it
100
3
hours, I would say, because Marissa's saying even more.
Yeah,
120,
I would guess
150.
more. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I mean, if you figure out, 24 hours in a day, it's
Yeah, it's not enough.
100's not enough, really.
and that's why there was it was good that there was a lot of students that helped us. And
What was the total number? Of, not. I know you had a lot of visiting faculty and others that came in and out of the process, but what was the average number of students working on it in addition to the two of you?
at a time, at the beginning with Stephen Ross, I think sometimes we had like 3 or 4 of us at the start.
Yeah.
But then as time went on, it's like the other students had other things to do. And,
Exactly. Yeah.
and Gabrielle and I happened to be available, but Gabrielle had to have her mom bring her all the time, and that was like coordinating that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I live in Fall River, so I was a lot closer.
Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful project, and I personally, I hope it's going to hang permanently somewhere on the Bristol Community College campus, because it really should, particularly in light, I'm sure that both of you are aware of the desecration of gravestones at the Jewish cemetery here, one of the Jewish cemeteries here in Fall River. I was at that event last night and walked through the cemetery and saw those terrible things that are up. So the hatred, unfortunately, for all of us has not died. And we look at these two from the 1940s, and then we go to today, 2019, and there's still swastikas and other symbols of hate out there. So we hope that our viewing audience will see these, and that they'll be reminders that we don't want to repeat the past, and that we, love is the answer, not hate. So thank you so much for joining us, particularly to Michael and Gabriella and Marissa and Kat. It was so nice to have you here today, and join us again next time.